This is my self-checking Google Sheets for practicing the multiplication algorithm and the long division algorithm. Not that I think that learning the algorithm is the most important thing, but for my tutoring students, if I have students that have to learn, this is what I do to help through the process. Uh, this is self-checking, so it doesn't matter what problem is put in here. It will check along the way. There are hidden columns here that contain a lot of formulas to help with the checking. So I know it seems easy, just multiply, but it's crazy complicated with the formulas and how they have to split the digits and whatnot to check each digit and for the various possibilities. So the behind the scenes is kind of crazy to produce something that looks pretty simple. But what this does is it takes any 3-digit by up to 3 digits. So you can have a 2-digit by 2-digit, a 3-digit by 1-digit, it doesn't matter. But for practicing an algorithm, 3-digit by 3-digit, I figured was the biggest I needed to have any student work on. And it checks all along the way. So this is a Google Sheet. It has a script that has to be authorized. So the first time you use it, you try to press the button to do the clear, and it'll tell you to authorize the script, and it'll say potentially dangerous, you're signing your life away. There's nothing dangerous in there. It's just saying, clear these cells and only these cells. What I do is I keep the sheet as a template and I make a copy, and I make a copy for each student or group, and you can within that copy, you can duplicate this sheet many times. Hopefully, you don't give your students too many to practice at once, but you can duplicate this sheet to have more than one problem at a time. But what you can't do is you can't just copy and paste. That doesn't work because there's so many formulas that happen to to do the conditional formatting. So it's just this one on this page, but you can duplicate it as many times as you need. So you put in any up to 3-digit by 3-digit, say 427 or 426, okay? And for the for the factors, each one goes in its own cell. There. And it doesn't matter what you do. It's going to figure out whether the student has computed correctly. So there is an area to put the answers, and there is a section where you might have to regroup your multiplication. So this is assuming you've taught it. This is not for teaching it, but this is just to practice. So assuming you've got the concept down and understand what's happening here, and you just need to have to practice. So you do the multiplication and 1 digit in each thing. So here, and I have this right here to help regroup the multiplication. I didn't want to put anything up here because you know how some kids get confused. It's like, well, did I already add that in, or is that the one I'm adding in now? So by putting it here, it helps keep it compact and a little more orderly. And each one that's done correctly turns up green by the formatting. So if I had a wrong answer here, if I said for, forgot to regroup and I just put a 6 in here, you'll see, oh, that's not correct. I need to figure that out. Oh, I was supposed to add the 4 tens, so 16 tens plus 4 tens. I should have a 0 here, and it'll check it along the way. There. And 2 and 3. There. What did I do? 42 plus 2. See? I could see I made a mistake because I was talking at the same time. There we go. And we go through this and fill this in. And the only thing that I couldn't do is I couldn't I couldn't make it so that if you had a 0, like if I had it as 308 and there's a 0, I couldn't then do the hundreds multiplication in the second set of rows. I still have to do it down here. So if it was a 0, I would just put a 0 here and then tell the students to then compute your hundreds multiplication still down at the bottom. Okay, so let me just go ahead and fill this out. 3, 6, 12, 5, 1, 4, 5, 2, and 8, 1, and 7, and I'm sorry, I'm squinting. There we go. So by the fact that everything that I wrote in this time shows up as green tells me that it was computed correctly. Now I'm going to do the last part of adding the pieces together. And this up here is so I can regroup the addition. Um, and it's a different color just to make sure the kids don't get confused. Like what goes there? Where was I? And I can put a number up here or I don't have to, but if I put it there, if it's right, it shows up green. If I don't put it there, but I still include it correctly down here, that's fine. 2, 6, 5, 1. And there. So every step has been checked as I was doing it to help kids. Because, when they make a mistake and it's like, oh, they kind of give up. It's like they don't want to go back through and check, do the whole thing over again to find the mistake. Anyway, that's the multiplication. The things to remember is do not copy and paste, don't add any extra rows, don't delete any rows because there's all these formulas that happen here. And on your own copy of this, I hide these columns here and I might protect that section there by going down to, let me show you. So it's protected. So if I take all this, I would, and there's quite a bit here. I would take that and protect it. So right click, cell actions, protect the range, which I've already done, so that nobody goes in and messes up with all the formulas here. But I will hide all these columns so it's less of a chance that someone's going to go and mess them up, and keep that hidden. Okay, so and then the clear button will clear it. So only the parts that need to be cleared are cleared. Okay, the division algorithm is similar. The dividend goes in one digit per cell, oriented to the left. So if you have 3 digits, you're still going to put the first digit here. If you have 2 digits, you put the first digit here. The divisor, all the digits go in this one cell. So if I have 3, 2, 1, 6, let's say, and I want to divide it by 15. So this, each digit gets its own cell. This one, I put it all together. So you can have up to 4 digits divided by up to 3 digits, and the whole thing works. Now, this part here doesn't have conditional formatting. The only part that's formatted is up here in the quotient, and that's because there are too many possibilities of, I'm bringing it down to this row here, or I'm not, or I'm dividing it by 150 so I don't get something to all the way here. And, there was just a lot of um, variables that I couldn't get it all to work out for every possibility of how someone might carry down or bring down. And um, so only the answer has the conditional formatting. And I put the questions I use to guide my students' thinking in here, but you don't have to. I mean, you can certainly erase that if you don't want it. But I will do this and say, so up here, so that turned green, so that is correct. But when I put this in here, this is not going to show up because it was just too difficult. Um, but as I do this, and I have a remainder, This is set up so that the remainder is r space and then the remainder. And that'll show up as the conditional formatting. So it has to have a remainder, r space, and then the remainder for that to show up correctly. I didn't set it up for fractional remainders or decimal number remainders. Just this is so that my students who have to practice how to do this can practice um, uh, and get checked at least up here. Okay. So I have the questions here is what I use, but however you guide the students is to they're thinking of what you're doing when you divide. That's there. And again, to clear, you just press the clear button. The formulas are hidden back here. You can open them up, but I keep it hidden when I give this to any students. For students, and if I only want to give them multiplication, I could, keep this as my template and then uh, delete that from the ones I give to my students. So if I'm just working on multiplication or just division, I just delete the other sheets that aren't going to be used then. So make as many copies as you need for your own students. That's fine. And I hope it's helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know.